Hi, it's Candy, President of Affordable Bookkeeping and Payroll Services, and today I wanted to put out this video to share information with you that's a bit urgent. Normally, I will have a little bit more of a formal video blog, but the information that I need to share with you is time sensitive, and so I wanted to just get this out in a more informal way just to inform you. So if you are a California employer, there is now new supplemental sick pay that you are required to offer to your employees if they have had COVID or they have other family members that are dealing with the issue as well. And periodically, because there's so much information, I want to make sure that I don't miss. I might, look down at some notes. So again, please, forgive the not looking at the camera all the time, but I wanted to make sure that I don't miss the details. Basically, this law goes into effect tomorrow, February 19th, and it will go back to January 1st of this year. So if anyone has missed work due to having COVID or taking care of a family member, and they either didn't get paid for those hours or they used their regular sick pay to cover the time that they missed, you need to go back and credit them for the sick pay that they had used that was not for the COVID supplemental sick pay, and pay them under those hours. So this means you may need to talk to your payroll company and adjust. If they didn't take it, they get to just go back and get paid those extra hours. So again, this starts on February 19th, but it does go back again to January 1st. This law applies to those with 25 or more employees. So if you're a smaller business, you do not have to follow this law, but those who have 25 or more will have to follow the rules of this law. So which employees are entitled for the sick leave? And this is where I'll definitely be looking at my notes just to make sure I don't miss any of the facts. Number one, the employee is subject to a quarantine or isolation period related to COVID-19 as defined by an order or guidance of the State Department of Public Health, the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or a local public health officer who has jurisdiction over your workplace. If the employee has been advised by a healthcare provider to isolate or quarantine due to COVID-19. The employee is attending an appointment for themselves or a family member to receive a vaccine or a vaccine booster for protection against COVID-19. The employee is experiencing symptoms or caring for a family member experiencing symptoms related to COVID-19 and seeking a medical diagnosis. The employee is caring for a child whose school or place of this is a school or place of case. I'm not sure what that exactly means, but it sounds like a school or where they should be going to, like a preschool or something, is closed or otherwise unavailable for reasons related to COVID-19. If the employee or a family member for whom the employee is providing care for tests positive for COVID-19, it does say the employer may condition payment of supplemental paid sick leave for this reason upon the employee providing a positive test for themselves or their family member that they're taking care of. So the employee is eligible for potentially up to 80 hours of this supplemental paid leave. And there are two different ways this is tracked. There's two different banks, per se, of these hours. Bank number one, the employees are entitled to up to 40 hours of COVID supplemental paid sick leave for full-time employees based on the reasons I gave above. That I just gave to you right before this description. Bank number two, employees are entitled up to 40 hours of paid leave for reason number 8, and that was if the employee or a family member for whom the employee is providing care tests positive for COVID-19. Employers will have to implement a tracking system to really understand how many hours are being used in which bank. It's going to complicate it a little bit. And so it says that to calculate this, it says that employers are to calculate the amount of leave for part-time, variable scheduled employees and full-time employees. So you need to review the requirements to know how to do this. So to calculate the rate of pay, obviously if it's a salary worker, you're just going to figure out how many hours they are off, what is their typical rate. So take their salary, multiplied by the number of pay periods that they have, divided by the 2,080 hours that's typical, for a year, and that gives you the hourly rate. The hourly rate times the number of hours of sick pay would be the sick pay that they get, that you would just adjust their salary for. So you're offsetting what their normal salary is against these hours. If it is someone who is part-time, you need to calculate based on what their typical amount of pay would be, and figuring out, again, if it's an hourly rate, it's simple. But if it's something that is paid like on a commission or things like that, you have to figure out what the average amount of pay is so that you can pay them effectively. So it says here there are caps on the number of amounts of payments. The total sick leave, again, is capped at 80 hours between January 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2022. You are not required to pay more than $511 per day and $5,110 in aggregate to the employee unless the law changes. The Healthy Workplaces, Healthy Families Act that is in place, it says that the supplemental paid sick leave is in addition to the sick leave that employees are already entitled to under the California Healthy Workplaces, Healthy Family Act set forth in Labor Code 246. You cannot require employees to first exhaust that supplemental paid sick leave before paying this other leave as well. The California paid sick leave is in place any employer obligation to comply with local paid sick leave requirements, such as those in Los Angeles City and County, Long Beach, and Oakland. Here's where it can get complicated as well. The law requires employers to provide a notice to employees in the amount of COVID-19 supplemental paid sick leave that the employee has used through the pay period that it was due to be paid. This can be provided on the employee's pay stub or on another writing provided to the employee on the designated pay date. The employee shall list 0 hours used if a worker has not used any COVID-19 supplemental paid sick leave. This requirement takes effect the next full pay period following February 19th, 2022. So again, it's not just going back and adding sick pay for anyone who's taken it. You now have to show that they have no hours that have been taken for any employees if they have a bank but they haven't used it yet. So that's going to complicate it, and the larger that you are, the more difficult this tracking is going to be. So go ahead and really talk to your payroll company, make sure that they have this set up for you so that you can meet those requirements. It says you are also required to post or distribute a notice to employees that will be developed by the Labor Commissioner. The Labor Commissioner is in the process of updating its website and will make the posters and FAQs available. Other provisions of the law address firefighters and providers of in-home support service employees. So if you're have in-home care providers or things, check their laws as well. So again, I wanted to just get this information out there. If you're not in compliance, you could end up with some potential issues. And so making sure that you're aware of this additional sick pay that you must offer, I figured it was more important to get this out to you in this method. It's not as what I typically do, it's not as professional per se, but I feel the information is important. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to us at www.abandp.com on my website. Our email is contact@abandp.com, and our phone number 310-534-5577. All right, I hope you guys have a great weekend.